Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. My guest has been dubbed the Lady of 1,000 Voices. You know her as the star of Forbidden Broadway, Newsical the Musical, and Hamilton, and from such Broadway shows as Little Me with Martin Short, Chicago, and Talk Radio. She is known to legions of fans as the host of SiriusXM Radio's Channel 72 on Broadway every weekday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the Dueling Divas with Seth Rudetsky every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And this coming Sunday, May 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, she will be doing her virtual concert with Seth Rudetsky as part of his Seth concert series that streams right here at Broadway World. Please say hello to my friend, Christine Pedi.
Hi, Richie. Look, I opened the window, the window blinds, so now we can actually see me.
I love it. You look great. First of all, tell us, how are you and where are you?
I have to stop and look for a minute and remember. Okay, I just moved on the 1st of May, on the 1st of May. It is moving day. Anyway, I officially moved out of the apartment I'd lived in for 22 years. The legendary and full of character Camelot, right on the most iconic Broadway street there is, 45th Street. And I moved out into a wonderful apartment courtesy of the Actors Fund, who I can't even say enough about as far as their generosity and their ability to just help in times of crisis. And I'm at a Actors Fund housing in a beautiful apartment. I also, after 22 years, moved, and I also got a dog the same week. I do recommend it, but you just have to have a nice dog, because mine is an angel, and it's a lot. So here I am with all of my boxes, and I had this apartment is a lot of light, a lot of natural light, in place of walls, aka shelves. So this is why you see what you see, like all these boxes and stuff. And I'm adapting. And you also see a lot of random lamps. You can't turn around without bumping into an unplugged lamp, because I had them everywhere in the old apartment. So I'm just trying to be zen about it and take it one little item at a time. Like, ooh, look, I found a Post-it from the old apartment. I'm going to put this Post-it here now. I mean, from the littlest thing to the biggest thing, I'm just trying to take a breath and make it all fit somehow. But I don't think I need my ring light. Yeah. I don't think I need my ring light, because this is what Marlo Thomas called God's light. Yeah.
I just love that you're being zen about this whole thing, because it's been quite a year. I've been speaking to actors and performers and creators all around the world, and everyone's had a totally different experience depending on where they've been, like if they've been living by themselves, or if they have a husband or a significant other or kids. So here you are, you got to move at the end of this whole pandemic, right?
Yeah. Honestly, the isolation of the pandemic, I kind of loved. That was what I was waiting for, is just uninterrupted time amongst my crap to organize it. Unfortunately, it also came in tandem with me losing my vision. My vision in my left eye is almost completely gone, really useless. And my right eye is going. So I'm technically now legally blind, but it doesn't manifest itself in the way that people might think. Although, yes, I do bump into things. So it's emotionally, physically, whatever. It's a lot to handle. And it just put me in mind of people, the pandemic, life goes on, good and bad, pandemic or not, for everybody. Kids have to take their college entrance exams, and if you're in chemo, you still have to go to chemo. If you're on dialysis, you still have to go on dialysis. If you want to try and change your career, you still, there's a lot of things. Your life still goes on while you're sitting in this strange and peculiar limbo. So the limbo element of it, I would have loved to just be alone with my life and tasks that I put aside for so many years. However, I was in a constant kind of a downward spiral physically and then emotionally. So I was working really hard to try and find a way. And I feel as though I feel constantly like I'm not succeeding, and yet, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't start to meditate. And I found really wonderful wellness teachers and things like that, because that's always on my mind. It's always on my mind to just stop and recalibrate. And so that's what I was doing during the pandemic, was, dealing with what everybody else was dealing with. I was doing it by myself in a studio apartment in Hell's Kitchen, which, as you probably know, I'm not sure what part of town you live in, but it was indeed, I lived through a dystopian hellscape. It was like nothing I've ever encountered. The solitude, the strange energy, the nobody around except people living in their own world, in their own reality. The education that I got from living in the theater district, and the education I got about homelessness and criminals, what that really means. I was absorbing all of that too. That's heavy stuff. To walk down the street and have no buffer to absorb the energy between you and somebody who's, God bless them, certifiably insane and really in need of help. And they're right in my neighborhood. They're right where all our fun joints are to go have martinis on our way to the theater. That's not there anymore. It's just me and this poor person who needs help. And then I go home to my studio apartment and, wash everything down and disinfect and sit alone and deal with being, losing my vision, and hope that I didn't catch a virus. So that was my COVID. How was yours?
Well, I'm in Hell's Kitchen too. I'm down the street from you on 10th Avenue and 43rd. So I've sort of lived through the same thing you did.
Yes.
But I stayed I sort of went out twice a week, would do the shopping, wipe everything down. But, I got to work, which was really great for me, which I thought, but it was nice to sort of let everybody else, like, to talk to people around the world and let, fans know that, all artists are going through the same thing that they were going through. And that's what we wanted to sort of put out there this year. So it's been interesting. But, now it seems to be a light at the end of the tunnel right now. I mean, it was announced today that Broadway is going to open again on September 1st. Cuomo announced that, and the Broadway League's working to get everything going, and they're all going to work safely with, the precautions, and just try to get things back again and get tourism back and get New York back to sort of what it was before this all happened.
Don't you laugh when people say, "Oh, will Broadway come back? How will they, sir? How will they come back?" I'm like, are you crazy? It's Broadway. Have you heard of us? Do you know what are you, insane? It's New York City. Grow up, please. Come on. Everything it'll be fine. It's going to be a period of adjustment. It's going to suck financially, because life always sucks financially. I mean, it just happens. And it's going to be interesting. And that's my only regret about I don't live far, I only live about 12 blocks away, but to wake up every morning and watch the, you're out of the woods, come out, wherever you are. That's what it's going to be like in that neighborhood. Right. Because, as you know, they kept the lights on. Thank God they kept the Broadway marquee lights on, because had that not been the case, wouldn't it have been just, I think we all would have had to have like additional medication or something to handle it. So I'm really looking forward, and that's incredible. And
we have to talk about Sunday for you. I mean, congratulations. This coming Sunday afternoon, May 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will be live doing your virtual concert with Seth Rudetsky as part of his Seth concert series that streams right here at Broadway World. How excited are you about putting a concert together?
I'm very excited, because in one of these boxes is my sheet music. And, everybody's like, "Oh, nobody uses sheet music anymore. Scan it, scan it, scan it." Okay, when I find it in one of these boxes, come on over and scan it for me. So yeah, I don't relish the look in Seth's eyes when we do our sound check later today. If I don't send him a perfectly scanned piece of music. I have some already in the system, but we're going to sing a bunch of songs with Mama in the title. I had to get permission from my mother to, be busy at 3:00 brunch time in our house. And I don't know what I'm going to sound like. I haven't sung since Christmas. So all year I sang. I did one show at the holidays on the stoop in front of Don't Tell Mamas, which was pretty magical and amazing. Miraculously, it was 54 degrees in the middle of December. And it was like a 4:00 show or something. It was crazy. That's the only time they had. I mean, I'm playing a 4:00 show on a Saturday outside on the street at Don't Tell Mamas. I wouldn't have had it any other way. So that was the last time I sang, was in December. So we'll see what comes out of my mouth. And I'm looking forward to it. And God bless Seth. I mean, Seth has been unstoppable since day one of all this. And between his Stars in the House and his concert series and just everything that he does, you know. So it'll be nice. And then I'm gonna be doing the West Bank on May 27th, which is a whole other situation. Can you hear the sirens?
Yep, we hear them. I get them too. Yep.
It's the soundtrack to my life.
Totally.
Anyway, yeah, that's a different vibe because that's 2 sets. We don't do sets in cabaret.
Yeah.
So it's more of a nightclub vibe, but that's going to be, you know, I just sort of did it because I guess I got to start singing again. And I'm not sure like where my career is going to go because of my vision. So I know that I can always be a concert performer. And I got to, you know, get back up on that horse. Also, you know, the risotto balls.
Okay, so your show is in a box somewhere. So you and Seth have obviously talked through things already, right? For Sunday's concert?
Well, you know, there's a set list of songs that Seth and I have done in the past that he likes. And we'll definitely do, as I said, a couple of songs with Mother in the title and a bunch of Forbidden Broadway things. My goal, I don't know if it's going to work or not because, you know, I've never done it. I said, why don't we do requests where people say, sing this song as this diva. It's just that is a skill, not just doing the impression, but knowing what song is funny. All right. And it's not funny if Liza Minnelli sings New York, New York. That's just, you know, there's no humor there. It's funny if Liza sings Dancing Queen, or you know what I mean, or if Elaine Stritch, I do a Beatles medley online. You can find it on YouTube called Beatles Divas, and Elaine Stritch sings Beatles Why Don't We Do It in the Road, and you know, Joan Rivers goes, listen, do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Oh, closer. Let me whisper in your ear. You know, I mean, it's those incongruities that make it funny. So if people can come up with good divas and a good match for a crazy song, yeah, and it doesn't have to be a show tune either. That's funny too. You know, like Liza singing the Battle Hymn to the Republic is pretty damn funny.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been living through your YouTubes all during this pandemic, as many other people have, to just bring us some joy during all this. Where in your apartment are you setting your stage up for Sunday? Have you decided?
Say that again.
Where is your stage? Where are you going to be shooting this concert from on Sunday?
Well, clearly with this fabulous filtered light that I just discovered that overexposes me so you can't see any of the wrinkles, I'm going to be doing it from this chair. I do have a green screen. So if I can fit it, you know, I have a green screen somewhere. If anyone wants to come help me look for it, it's here someplace.
Love this.
There's a green screen, or I might just do it au natural with a potted palm and a lamp in the background. And I don't know. I'll figure it out. I think I could just make a wall of boxes behind me, just a wall of Banker's boxes. There's that possibility too. I don't know, but I have a green screen, so green screens need a lot of bright light. But I think I got a lot of bright light. So I mean, I'm really blessed. You know, my vision is really bad, and I really do best with a lot of light. And when I walked into this place, I was blown away. It's really like somebody's watching over me. You know, it really is.
Great. That is great. You know, you're also offering a VIP sound check ticket at 12 noon. These are really exciting because I've
Uh-oh.
watched all of these because, fans, get ready. Fans normally, come into a nightclub or whatever, the lights are all going, and it's like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage. But now they get to see you and Seth do your sound check and just do what you do. How cool is that?
Do they really?
Yes.
At 12 noon?
Yes.
Isn't that interesting? Well, I'm glad the light is so bright because I won't have my makeup on at that point. So I'll take as much washed out overexposure as I can. And well, they'll be able to see Seth yell at me, I guess. And Seth say, "Boy, you're lucky I'm a great pianist." Because, there's not enough things aren't notated properly. There's chicken scratch on things. Because my piano player, Matthew Martin Ward, who's wonderful, he keeps a lot of it in his head. He makes his own notations and they make sense to him. And that's really all that matters. But then I'll hand them to Seth thinking it's fabulous because of the way Matthew plays it. And Seth will just roll his eyes and go, "God, you're lucky I'm a great transposer," or "You're lucky I'm a great pianist." And I am. And, Seth and I created, I guess we'll probably do I Will Survive just because, I've done I Will Survive a lot. But I think it certainly speaks to the pandemic. And it was the first big mashup, before we call them that, that I ever did over 20 years ago with Seth, because he wanted me to do one of his shows. And I sat in one of his many little apartments in front of his, upright, and we put it together because I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted it to be. And I knew that was the song I wanted to use. But then at the end of it, for those of you who don't know, and you'll see it on Sunday, he said, "Oh, you have to do the last words, I will survive. The last four syllables as four different women. You have to break it up." I'm like, "No." He said, No, you have to. And so it's all because of just the collaboration between me and Seth. So we'll probably do that. Because again, it fits for the pandemic, I think. And I really hope that people can call in and just think of a ridiculous combination of songs. It doesn't have to be a show tune, like I said. It could be a Beatles song. Well, Seth's got to know it. Let's be realistic here. So there's a finite list of songs popular of a non-show tunes Seth knows, but I can do some of them a cappella, and it might be fun. It might be fun. And I want to introduce you to my dog, Clarence. Come here.
Bring Clarence over.
Because Bill Berloni got me this dog. Clarence, where are you, baby?
Beautiful.
God, he walks so slow. Come here, Clarence.
Bill Berloni, of course, is the best animal trainer for Broadway. All of his dogs
I think Clarence.
Dogs.
I think Clarence is hip to the fact that he is being prostituted for his cuteness.
Fabulous.
Because I showed him to another friend on camera before, and he does not like to respond. But I named him Clarence after the angel in It's a Wonderful Life. And because I had to put a bell on him so I could hear him. And every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. So his name is Clarence George Oddbody, Angel Second Class. And he is so zen. See, he's falling asleep. He's falling asleep as we speak.
Oh, I love that you got him from Bill, because, all of Bill's dogs are rescue dogs that have appeared on Broadway and all of his shows and the ones he's gotten for people. Clarence is beautiful. I'm glad you have him. That's great.
He's an angel.
I mentioned to you, one of the big positives of this pandemic is, most of your fans can just buy a ticket all at the same time from all around the world and watch you all at the same time in the comfort of their own space. That must make you feel really great about Sunday.
It does, and in general, because sorry, sweetie, I was loud. Because I started to do my radio show from home as we all started to work from home, and I felt a real responsibility suddenly, because I was doing it right in my private space, and I knew everybody was in their private space, and I was acutely aware of that, and so that connection with people coming to me from where they live, where their life and the most intimate belongings and people were around them. And so it's nice that they can, and so many people found joy being able to stream and bring all, and it was so much fun to see the actors in their homes. I think it equalized everything. I think it took certain performers down off a pedestal, but put them in a much more profound place. Seeing you with all your, oh, Richie Ridge lives someplace. People have, stairways and framed pictures of their parents and animals and, you know what I mean? And knickknacks to dust and we still love and admire all our, great performers, but to see them in their home, I don't know, it made it a lot more profound, a lot more, we became friends with people, whether they knew it or not, and he's grumbling. All right, you want to go to sleep?
I think everyone is going to be totally different when it all comes back and everyone is a one-on-one now. I think people are going to give much more eye contact with the people they're with. I think everyone's, perception of how they view their careers and their lives are all going to change when you get to be with someone again. I think everyone's become very humbled during this past year. That's one big thing that I've noticed.
I shook somebody's hand the other day. I was at just a dinner. It was the first dinner I went to. And it was in a big room, and everybody had been vaccinated. It was only about 8 people. And I was introduced to someone I'd never met, and he put out his hand, and I went, okay, yeah, I guess I can. I mean, I Purelled after, but it was a weird feeling. And it was one of the most intimate handshakes I'd ever had because of that, because of what came before. And I also think the quality of our photographs on Facebook, you're going to see people like, hi, look, yes, hug. We're going to be touching people in parts of their bodies. And we won't care. Touch me here, touch me there, hug me there, grab this, grab that. Who cares? I'm yours. Take it. Well, and then there's that whole thing too. There's that whole, people have not been able to, get up close, personal, and snuggle in a, you know what I mean, in a carnal way. I don't even want to know it's going to be crazy. But
it's going to be really great. Well, I just want to tell our audience once again that Christine Pedi will be in concert with Seth Rudetsky this Sunday afternoon, May 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a rebroadcast Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there's that very special VIP soundcheck ticket at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. All tickets $28.50. I cannot wait for your VIP soundcheck. Just to watch you and Seth try to get through your sound check is going to be a show amongst itself. Now, there's also a special student discount available now for Seth shows, that if you have a student email with that .edu email address, use it with code STUDENT when signing up for a Broadway World account. The series, of course, is produced by Mark Cortali. It's sponsored by Broadway World and StreamYard. Tickets are available at Broadway World events and, of course, at SethConcerts.com. Christine, I want to ask you, growing up, where did your love for performing begin, and what were your earliest creative outlets?
I didn't really perform as a kid. I didn't think you could. I mean, I thought that was for special people blessed by some performance god, and I didn't think it would ever happen in my world. And I didn't have a lot of knowledge about Broadway. I had a teacher in the 7th grade who was very into us being creative, and I used to do like spoofs. I remember I did a spoof of an airline commercial. Remember, fly me, da 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 da. I don't know what airline it was, but I remember I came into class and I had on go-go boots and a mini skirt, and I had a big map of the world, and I was singing "Fly Me, don't be," trying to be like the sexy. But then I lowered the map, and I was like, I had teeth, I had a toothless, and I made myself all ugly, because they, the airline stewardesses back then, that was the big deal, was that they would play up the sex appeal of the female stewardesses. And I remember that was interesting to me. But I didn't perform until high school. And it started probably in high school a little bit. I started to learn about musical theater, and very slowly. And my director of the first play I did, which was Godspell, told my mother that I should take singing lessons, which blew me away. And I did. And then I didn't do anything in college because I worked in radio in college at my college radio station. And that was another love. And that was all consuming. But I was the arts editor, and I got tickets to Broadway plays for free. So it was actually setting me up, because I would look at the stage and just go, wow, And then when I graduated college, I started doing community theater just because I thought maybe I could. And that's when I really started to realize that, and I hated my full-time job, my desk job from day one. I mean, I loved the people, but I didn't like the job. And that's when I realized I became good friends with John Tracy Egan in community theater. And we did Evita together. He was my Che. And it was a beautiful production. It was a really gorgeous production. And so he was the only other person I knew who was pursuing it professionally. And I decided, I think I should try this. And I knew nothing except John. I knew John. That's all I knew. That's all I knew.
I love it. I want to talk about Broadway debuts, because many people were supposed to make their Broadway debuts this past spring. And of course, the pandemic hit. But I think a lot of those shows are coming back. So they'll be given that opportunity. Broadway debuts are very special. You made yours in Little Me, in Roundabout Theater Productions, in their glorious production of Little Me, opposite Martin Short and Faith Prince. What do you remember about your Broadway debut?
Well, I remember that I saw a lot of stuff at the Roundabout Theater when it was at the Criterion Center, which is now like a Sephora or something, right?
No.
And I remember that beautiful modern lobby. And I remember, I think maybe I was at a point in my life where I maybe might have known one or two people in one or two of the shows I'd seen there. And I would wait outside to say hello. And I just remember thinking, I get to go. Oh. I remember I thought I get to go inside, like the room where it happens, And believe it or not, I don't remember my audition. I don't remember a lot about that. Isn't that really weird? But I remember being I remember being in a room with Cy Coleman and Neil Simon. And I didn't have much to say to either of them because I was young and I was new and I didn't know how any of this worked. And I just didn't want to break the furniture or, embarrass myself. And yet they voted me the equity deputy. And I just remember I was so thrilled to be in a room with Neil Simon, but there was nothing to say to him because I didn't have any lines of his. And we had such a great relationship. He knew nothing about it, but he and I had a great relationship in life. And he was the kind of comedy that I understood as a little girl. A little girl, it was his kind of comedy. And it was odd to me because in retrospect, I realized it was kind of adult mentality for a little girl, but his was the comedy I got. And so just being in the room with him was wonderful. Rob Marshall was an angel of a man, impossibly patient and wonderfully kind. And Faith also. Marty Short was insane, and so it was a lot. It was, it just, can't believe it happened. I also can't believe the theater's not there anymore. But
I love that theater. I love that production too. You've been dubbed the Lady of 1,000 Voices. I mean, Christine, when did you first realize that you could do voices and other personalities? Because you're so good. You just switch on a dime and you just turn into these people. Like, who was your first that you did when you realized this?
I didn't really do anything. And, as a kid, I didn't do anything till Forbidden Broadway other than dialects. I did dialects and, my relatives or, silly people or, it was just for fun at dinner conversation. And I did my Italian grandmother at my Forbidden Broadway audition because they said, did you do any impressions? And I'm like, well, not really, but this is what I do. And I do my grandmother, and I did my grandmother. They said, "Do you do Carol Channing?" I said, "Well, everyone does Carol Channing." And so I did Carol Channing because I had actually met her. So I was very happy to be able to say that I had a personal experience with her. And then then I got cast, and it just picked up from there. And the thing is that as I did it, the more I did it, the more I did it, the easier it got.
Yeah.
To pick up on isms, and you just become more facile, and at least I think I did. And now looking back on the early versions of Barbara or Liza or Bernadette, I'm like, ugh, God, I had the luxury of 8 shows a week though, for a long time. Had my 10,000 hours of doing something. So,
okay, who was the easiest voice to sort of grasp, and who was one of the most challenging for you to perfect? Because you've done everyone from political people, from Oprah to Hillary Clinton to every, Broadway diva. So who was the easiest and who was one of the most challenging?
The quickest was Angela Lansbury. They said, do an Angela Lansbury for this number. And I'm like, oh, damn it. Because my producer is still obsessed with Angela Lansbury. And I knew he'd be all over me if I wasn't doing it right. And I just started it. And I went, oh, well, that might work. And it just came out right the first time out. And the hardest, oh gosh, I don't, Bernadette, I did all wrong for a long time. And then I heard somebody else do a really good Bernadette, and I went, oh, I know what to do now. And then it just switched on a dime. And then somebody like Liza just evolved. She wasn't great in the beginning. I think she's great now. I don't know, something about maybe watching more of her, not in concert, but talking is what did it for me, is Liza talking. Because a lot of times I don't sound like them when I'm singing, but talking is easier. So yeah, I think those are the ones.
Speaking of talking, I want to talk about talk radio because I love that production. Liev Schreiber, you did these incredible, peculiar phone calls. Tell everybody like where you were in the theater. That you were like, I was fascinated with that production. I love that production of talk radio.
That was intense, man. And we had the luxury of a couple of days of just table reading, which apparently is not normal. And I was told that Eric Bogosian actually wrote the play with all his voiceover friends in mind. I don't, I've heard him say it. I think it's a fabulous concept because the people who were backstage were a lot of cartoon voice people. Adam Seitz, was it Mark Thompson was his name, and Cornell Womack, and Barbara Rosenblatt, who is like a renowned talking book, recorded book narrator. I mean, renowned, and she's absolutely incredible at it. And so I got called because of Forbidden Broadway. They thought I'd have the scope of, and it was a well, first of all, everything was all set with them, and then I get a phone call from this casting director saying, you have another Broadway offer. What? I didn't audition for anything, and I never auditioned for anything. I mean, if I get an audition a year, okay, I had my agents never submitted me for anything, or nobody wanted me. I don't know, but I couldn't get arrested, couldn't even get auditions. And all my Broadway shows I got with no agent. And so I didn't know how this worked out. Well, it turns out it was the same casting director, and I had auditioned 6 months earlier for a possible replacement in Marty Short's show, Fame Becomes Me. But they ended up not needing a replacement, and so I thought that was over. And then 6 months later, I got talk radio, and everything was all set and ready to go. But I think I hadn't yet signed on the dotted line, for talk radio, but it was all ready. And they offered me the replacement in Martin Short's show. And talk radio was going to begin like after the first of the year. So was Marty Short. The contract for me And I said, I looked up at, I went to God, you couldn't break them up, could you? You just couldn't break them up. You had to put them right on top of each other. But at that point, I had committed to too many other things and signed it. I had other contracts that it just, there were too many things that I couldn't shift and move. And I did want to do talk radio as well.
Yeah.
It ended up working out fine because, of course, Marty's show didn't make it past January because that's the time when they lower the boom on a lot of shows. And it would have been amazing to do. And I didn't believe that it happened at the same time as talk radio. But it was a great learning experience, and our cast loved each other. We would sit outside in the alleyway of the Longacre Theater. Everybody smoked. I didn't, but like 7 of the cast members smoked. So they were all outside smoking. And I would make cookies and bring them in for everybody. And we just had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. I sat in the basement. There were 2 booths, 2 whatever, soundproof booths. And we put on headphones, and that's how we talked to Liev. And that's how we did it. And then I came on for a walk-on at the end of his character's shift. He exits and I enter as the producer of the next show, dressed in a very 1980s shoulder padded outfit. And that was it. There was no words. I got to emerge from the basement.
And what about Mama Morton? You got to do Candor and Ebb Chicago. How much fun was that, singing Candor and Ebb and playing Mama?
Well, that was pretty perfect because it's my favorite Broadway show. I'd seen it 18 times, like essentially once a year. I don't think it ever gets tired or old. And honestly, when I first saw it, I never even thought of myself as Mama Morton because I was too young 18 years prior. Yeah. It wasn't in my, one day. No, it just wasn't even in my thoughts. And it was Fran Weisler who said, I think you should be Mama Morton. I want you to be Mama Morton. Wouldn't she make a great Mama Morton? And I went, well, thank you very much, So she called the casting director, but it took something like 3 years for everything to align. Because there are overlaps between the stars playing Roxy and Velma, playing Roxy mostly, and sometimes Velma, and the contracts and who's playing Billy and so on and so forth. But it ended up working out, and I'm telling you, man, they don't write them like that anymore. I don't know why they don't write songs in that feisty, hearty, chesty voice. Yeah. It is a joy to sing. It's not hard to sing, really. It has power. It is conversational, but powerful. I don't understand why everyone is obsessed with, with these high, sorry, dog, with these high belting D's and E's. They can be impactful, yes, but I think that the female voice after a certain note above, like a high C, everybody's voice tends to sound the same.
Yeah.
There are a few women who have a uniqueness that transcends that part of their instrument, can sustain their signature sound, but not most. I find that everybody's voice sounds chirpy and too high, and I don't think we need to live up there all the time, constantly. And when I got to stand on that stage and sing that song, I sounded like me, and I didn't sound like anybody else singing that song, because it's in the place where you talk, but you still have power, and and it was a joy. It was a joy. And it was and I had to do the show for 2 weeks before I had performed it more times than I'd seen it.
I love that. You have quite a history with Gerard Alessandrini, between his Forbidden Broadways and, of course, Hamilton. What was the craziest thing that happened during the performance of Forbidden Broadway to you? What's the craziest mishap that's happened on stage?
Well, it happened off stage. I have to leave a number early, dressed as a teapot, as Mrs. Potts, and I have to leave Belle from Beauty and the Beast and the Candlestick on stage, finishing this Be Depressed, all about how Disney's taking over Broadway. And then I have to change and come on as Lilius White in The Life. And I have to change out of the teapot and step into this skimpy little tight slinky spaghetti strap dress, which has a little pot belly in it, and sensible shoes and a big old wig. And the dresser, I had told him I need to step into it in order for it not to roll up and get knotted. But he was into a lot of dresses roll something up and put it over your head. But that material isn't a good material to do, because then you got to flatten it out. Stepping into it is easier.
Yeah.
I knew what was best, but he defaulted to his old ways.
Yeah.
And it got stuck right around my neck. And then it got stuck. We pulled it down. It got stuck all right into my waist. And my rule is you show up on stage if your genitals and your head is covered. No. So I had to be calm. And I said, and he was sweating bullets because he knew we were in trouble. And I went, let's just take it off. And I took the whole thing off. And I said, and they were on stage and there was no music and there was nothing going on, but there was no way out of it except to just stop and fix it. And suddenly I heard, goodbye. And it was Donna English just leaving the stage as Belle. She was done. And then I think at some point, maybe another actor left. I think I ended up coming on with just one Disney character left. And I was like, Lilius White going, what are you doing taking over my neighborhood? Get out of here, and then I sing a spoof from the life. But that was an eternity upon an eternity upon an eternity. And it's as hard to show off stage as it is on stage. If you got to be organized and you those changes, don't ever do a quick change quick, because then Gerard Elstrini will never let you do it slow again. If you prove you can do a 14-second quick change in 8 seconds, he'll make it an 8-second, he'll trim down the time you have and make it an 8-second quick change. So there's no panic.
Well, like I said, you were phenomenal in that. We're just about out of time because I know you have a sound check, but I want to ask you, you are part of the Sopranos family. I mean, what does that mean to you, that badge of whatever, that they gave you? You're a soprano.
I'm a dead soprano. I'm a dead soprano. I was Baccala's wife. I got killed in a car accident on Pompton Turnpike, and he couldn't defrost my ziti for many episodes until that bitch Janice moved in. And they had a big reunion 2019, a big Sopranos con, which was pretty fabulous. And it's amazing, the people that follow the Sopranos. And I rewatched the whole series as a result of it. And I did nothing. It was like I had no lines, but it was kind of pivotal because it proved that Baccala loved he was the only guy who loved his wife, who didn't have a girl on the side, a gumada. And that was a big deal. And it was surreal. I was in a room. There was Tony Soprano and Uncle Junior, and a friend of mine told me it was like those Dirt Devil commercials where Fred Astaire is dancing with a Dirt Devil in his hand. He said he was watching it, and he was watching me, who he knew, talking to Tony Soprano and Uncle Junior, and it just looked like they had to be superimposed or I had to be superimposed. And, and I loved it. I was very comfortable on a TV set. I cried when I left. I really, really enjoyed the little that I did. I really enjoyed it. And, well,
like I said, you have a sound check coming up. There's so much more I want to talk
about. I do have to go.
So we have, of course, all your On Broadway, all your stuff. But I want to tell our fans one more time, all your fans, Christine Pedi will be in concert with Seth Rudetsky this Sunday afternoon, May 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a rebroadcast Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there is that special VIP sound check ticket at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. All tickets $28.50. Students, remember, there is a student discount available. Tickets are available at Broadway World Events. Christine, it's been great to catch up with you. I know you just moved into your brand new apartment. You got your gorgeous new child with you. I'm so looking forward to seeing. I've known you for I don't know how many years I've known you for.
A long. You look the same.
No, you look the same. Thank you. We look the same together.
It's all this filtered light. Say goodbye, Clarence.
Clarence, good. Take care, everybody, and join us Sunday for Christine Pedi in concert with Seth Rudetsky. Stay safe, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Good to see you, Richie. Good